Most High, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles and the Holy Spirit, who taught us his truth. Honors to the brethren that's laboring, doing the work to push the gospel, risking their life and freedom to do so. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, which will be 1/3 of us Israelites who are the true believers, according to the scriptures, who will be the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, who will be seeking their salvation by returning back to the Most High, by hearing and believing his word, so that he will have mercy on us in judgment. So we back with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. And I think I'm going to title this lesson, Cyber Attacks on the U.S. Water Supply and Survival Tips. Again, cyber attacks on the U.S. water supply and survival tips. And first, we're going to show this article real quick. This was in the headlines right now, that China and Iran is getting ready to attack the U.S. water supply via these cyber attacks. Now we'll get into some survival tips real quick. So, some people know that I was out the country last week, went to Mexico. I went to the real Mexico. Not where all you Americans be going. And where I was at, in the real Mexico, there is no flushable toilets. Well, excuse me, there is flushable toilets out there, but we was outside of the city, off the grid, living off the land. And living off the land, there are no flushable toilets. There is no tap water. They have running water, but it's not for toilets and it's not for tap water. The running water they do have is for drinking, for bathing, and taking care of the livestock. So again, where we was at, there was no flushable toilets, no tap water. Now I'm gonna show the little restroom situation to show how we was living out there. And Lord willing, it could give the hopeful elect ideas, survival tips on what things that they could do in the event that the water is turned off. But let's show this real quick. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatham. Yeah, so some people know that I'm out of the country right now. I'm in Mexico. But I'm going to try to gather a few videos just to, bring some edification out on. Like, for example, this the toilet. I'm in a real Mexico, not a tourist attraction spot, not where all the Americans go to, but I'm in the heart of Mexico, like halfway through it, like damn near to Central America. Hey, this the restroom spot. These people, they actually live off the land. Hey, times of Jacob's trouble. Hey, this could be an idea for a toilet. Pretty much a box, a bucket, something that has a hole in it, can cut a hole in it, that falls on the ground. And this underground area is pretty big. You could drop some bodies down there. But hey, you could just dig something 2 feet deep, a foot deep, when they cut the water off. And that's a spirit. I looked at my phone. This video was taken or made, recorded March 10th. And then when we pull this article back up, this is March 19th. Talking about the U.S. water supply being cut off. So, hey, this is right on time. And ultimately, knowing how to make a restroom or whatever ain't gonna save you, because you're gonna be as pilgrims on the earth. But just something to think outside of the box. Thinking back on the old ways, not only spiritually, as far as the scriptures and the ways that's pleasing to the Lord, but the ways of living. Because the old ways of living gonna come back in a major way. Yeah, the old ways of living gonna come back in a major way. And that's actually why I went out to Mexico this last time. I want to experience this living, one more time, before everything shut down. But, I wanted to show this, because we gotta detach from the system. That's ultimately what the Lord wants us to do, is to detach from the system, to depart from this way of living. And just think about how many Americans gonna bug out, lose their mind when they can't flush their toilets. Which when the water cut off, the toilets ain't gonna work. You gonna get one more flush and that's it. You know. And think about how many Americans not gonna think outside of the box and just fix up something like this. Or how many Americans, too proud and prideful and feel like they too good to even use the restroom outside. Think about how many people gonna get the mark of the beast, the RFID market chip, because of the water is shut off, because they can't use the bathroom how they want to. That'll be messed up, for those who get the microchip, just so they can use the bathroom in the restroom. Having the restrooms that we got here in America to use it is unimportant. It's not needed for survival. But let's get into the first precept real quick. Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, we first escaping in our mind by what? Coming out of this place, departing from this place mentally, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. So we're not going to lean on our oppressors no more, and we already departed from our oppressors mentally, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, the truth. And so those who will escape of the house of Israel, we will lean on the Lord and no more lean on our oppressors. So when the water cut off, F the water. We don't need the water and plumbing systems here in America to survive. But see, Esau the white man got us accustomed to this way of living. People don't know how to live outside this American way of living. But the scriptures say that what? We would no more stay upon him that smote us, that oppressed us, but we will stay upon the Holy One of Israel. And that's why when we go to the book of Isaiah 3 and 1, for behold, the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. This is just going to the food and water supply. The systems here in America that delivers food and water. Well, the Lord is what? Is going to take that away. He's going to cut that off. And he's going to use the sword, Esau Edom, to cut off the food and water supply. And see, the food and water supply, that would serve as judgment for the 2/3 of our people. But the food and water supply being cut off for the remnant, the elect, is only just a small transition for us, that we no more depend on this former way of living, but we start to depend more and more on Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, on our physical needs. Going back to Isaiah 10 and 20. So now we're going to get into this video that got some information pertaining to the water supply being cut off.
This is big breaking emergency news. We are now being issued an emergency warning from the White House. They have sent out letters to the states and to the governors, and they are warning them that a major attack to our water supply is coming. They are warning that the water is going to be shut off, and you need to be filling up your water tanks.
And I want to say shalom at the water to the brother Yahweh who sent this video. At the water and shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Baragadas to you, my brother. So let's continue.
In your gas tanks right now, right? The White House sent out this urgent letter warning states that they need to get prepared right now because they are worried that this attack and this shutoff of the critical services is coming very, very soon. They know something big is coming, and we need to be getting prepared for it, right? So let's dive into this news here really quick. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple times a day, keeping you guys updated on this big, urgent emergency news. All right, but check this out. This was just posted by the White House. All right, they just sent this letter out to governors. Every governor in the state is being warned, or every governor in the country is being warned right now and is being sent these letters. All right, here's the letter. It says, disabling cyber attacks are striking water and wastewater systems throughout the United States. These attacks have the potential to disrupt the critical lifeline of clean and safe drinking water, as well as impose significant cost on affected communities. It says, we are writing to describe the nature of these threats and request your partnership on important actions to secure the water systems against the increasing risk from and consequences of these attacks. Right? And they've warned that these systems are already compromised. They're already compromised. Why are
Apologies, got this damn commercial.
Compromised, and they are waiting for them to be activated. All right, you can see here it says federal departments and agencies assess with high confidence that Volt Typhoon actors are pre-positioning themselves to disrupt critical infrastructure operations. All right, that's what they are warning of in this White House letter that was just sent out. All right, and they are warning that that is potentially related to this Volt Typhoon, warning that the water is going to get turned off. The water is going to get turned off, right? They said here, drinking water and wastewater systems, this is from the White House, are an attractive target for cyber attacks because they are a lifeline critical infrastructure sector, but often lack resources and technology capacity to adopt rigorous cybersecurity practices. All right, that's what they're warning of, and they are teaming up with the EPA to try to increase cybersecurity on our wastewater systems. All right, and if you remember, this happened a few years ago. There was a wastewater system that was hacked, and they were able to increase the levels of sodium hydroxide in the water, which is lye, which can blind you and burn your skin and cause chemical reactions as well with other things if it's in the water. All right, so very serious. They were able to attack it and put excess amounts in it from accessing their systems because there's normally a little bit put in, but they were able to dump the whole thing in remotely. This was a few years ago, and I believe it was actually in Florida. It was in Oldsmar, Florida, I believe, is where that happened a few years ago. So very serious, and they're warning that this is coming very soon. So get your water tanks filled up, guys. All right, I got a big 200-gallon water tank. All right, because all that stuff's going to be down. It's all going to be down, and you need water for everything. You can't even flush the toilet. You can't take a shower. The wastewater systems, they're worried about that. What's everyone going to do? Where are you going to go to the bathroom if you live on the grid? All right, we are lucky enough that we have a well, but we are still attached to power right now. But this is what you're dealing with, right? This is what we're dealing with, and they are warning that it's coming very soon, right? So get prepared, have your preps ready, have your prepper pantry stocked up, and have these systems ready to go as well. And this is something that I've thought about for a long time, especially thinking of it in a prepping scenario, is that all they have to do is turn the water off. That's all they have to do for chaos to ensue. All they have to do is turn the water off.
Yeah, and let's grab a precept on that real quick. And that's a real good point. You know, turn the water off, all kind of chaos gonna follow. So let's show that in the book of Second Ezra. We already here. We're gonna hit chapter 6. We're gonna give verse 23, verse 20 through 24. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be afraid. Now, somebody could specify what this is talking about. You know, I believe this could be talking about the prophets blowing the trumpet, speaking the prophecies. But this could also go into the to the national emergency alert system. You know, such as when it's an Amber Alert, or when it's a national emergency, and everybody get the alert on their phone, and the message is broadcasted on the TV. You might hear this is not a test. You know, that's something that people will hear and will be afraid. So in the event that a major and multiple cyber attacks hit American critical infrastructure, you know, we may be alerted some kind of way. Verse 24, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And what did he say? All you got to do is take away the water and chaos is going to follow. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. So people will be in fear when all this stuff start to shake. And the springs of the fountains shall stand still. And in 3 hours they shall not run. What's a spring? What's a fountain? It's water. And it says that the springs of the fountains shall stand still. Stand still meaning what? That the water is not going to run. So they're going to shut the water off. You know, whether it's cyber attacks from other countries or rather it's Esau doing it, which we know Esau is ultimately behind it all. But yeah, the water's going to get shut off. And when people hear the water shut off, they think about, oh man, ain't going to be able to take no showers. You know, they don't think about you actually have to drink water for survival. People hear the water shut off, first thing they mind go to is a damn shower. Drinking water is more important than showering. But see, that's the problem with you Americans. Y'all don't drink water. Y'all drinking pop, soda, Capri Suns. Y'all don't even drink real juice. So of course America not concerned with the drinking aspect of the water. You know, they just concerned with using the water, to boost their pride. You know, whether it's getting cleaned up to be seen on the internet or out in public or something, or something stupid. But yeah, we're gonna get into the next portion of this video clip. And also too, like you say, the toilet's not gonna flush. People don't think about that. People think about, oh, I'm not gonna be able to wash dishes. F them dishes. But let's continue.
Nobody's cooking. Nobody's making any food.
Yeah, and really, you don't need water to cook. You know, this is about survival. It's not about being comfortable no more. That's why the Lord said, be ready to the battle. And in those days, be as pilgrims upon the earth. If you got water in your house, you want to preserve that water. You don't want to be making a bunch of noodles. You don't want to be making things that's going to use up whatever water you have left. You're going to need that for drinking water for survival. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff you're not going to be cooking. There's, dried fruits, nuts and seeds, dehydrated foods, maybe canned goods, maybe things that you can grill and cook over a fire, but you don't want to use whatever water you have left for cooking. You need it for drinking. So yeah, people gonna be hollering about we're gonna be to wash the dishes. Well, let's continue.
Nothing's going to work. Nobody can wash their hands. Nobody can flush the toilet.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to wash your dishes. F them dishes. And it's a new trend going on in the earth, especially amongst Israel. Everybody talking about they want to grow their own food. They want to have a garden. And the water gonna be shut off. So how you gonna water your garden? How you gonna water your fruits and vegetables? You see, that's all vanity. And don't you dare use your water for survival to water your garden. If the Lord didn't water your garden with the rain, why the hell are you trying to water it? And don't give your water to your pets. Don't be doing dumb stuff with the water. And we giving survival tips for the hopeful elect. We're not concerned with the rest of America. And let's just go back real quick. Make sure I ain't missing nothing.
Turn the water off. Nobody's cooking. Nobody's making any food. Nothing's going to work. Nobody can wash their hands. Nobody can flush the toilet.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to flush the toilet, which is why I showed this clip. And it was the spirit, that the Lord had me recorded, to show today. Flushing the toilet is so unimportant. It's not necessary. We didn't even have the kind of toilets we have now before America, I assume. Human waste belongs outside in the ground, in the dirt, where it's always been. And I think he talked about in the video clip, you can use water to fill up the water tank on the back of your toilet. Man, F that toilet. Don't dare put none of your water for survival in the toilet just to flush it. Take your butt outside, dig a hole in the ground, and squat, get a crate, a box, a bucket, make a hole in it, something. Survival tips. But let's continue.
It's not going to work. None of the animals are getting fed.
F them animals. Animals have always survived drinking from a pond, a creek, a river, rainwater. They're going to be good. Their bodies, their stomachs, their immune systems can drink water out there in the wild. We're not able to. So don't waste any water on anything that's not necessary for your personal survival. And again, preserving water is not going to save you. It's ultimately in the hands of the Lord. But just showing we got to depart from this old way of living. All these first world privileges, all this extracurricular stuff that we do with the water is not needed. And, so our people's minds don't break. People don't be all brokenhearted when the water go off. The Lord is doing that to transition those who will escape of the house of Jacob, transition from Esau's system and Esau's way of living to be completely dependent on the Lord. Now, we already dependent on the Lord in the spirit, but we still got to lean on Esau's system for survival. So when the Lord pulled back the food and water by Esau, the Lord is really doing us a favor to separate us from this devil. And matter of fact, people will look at this situation that we had in Mexico, with the toilet. People will actually complain. Oh, they don't want to do that. It's dirty. But let's get a precept real quick. We're going to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach 10 and 9. Why is the earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such a one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth his bowels away. So again, why is earth and ashes proud? You know, people will be too proud to set up this kind of contraption here to use the restroom. You know, you can still put toilet paper down on it if you just got to sit on it, but people would be too proud to use this and say, oh, it's dirty. But what the Lord say, why is earth and ashes proud? What does the Lord mean when he say, why is earth and ashes proud? Who and what is he talking about? Well, let's go to the book of Genesis 2 and 7. And the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So the Lord formed man from the dust of the ground. For somebody to complain and say this is dusty, it's dirty, well, we know different than this dirt and dust. We was both formed from the dust of the ground, the elements found here in the earth. But because again, the Lord formed all people from the dust of the ground. And let's look at this word dust in the Blue Letter Bible. Dry earth, dust, powder, ashes. And what the Lord say? Why is earth and ashes proud? That's the people. Rubbish. When we go down some more, ashes, dust, earth. So we was made from the elements here in the earth. Why are we proud? Hey, nothing is wrong with this in times of survival. You know, don't get the microchip just because you want to sit on the toilet to your liking. Don't get the microchip because you want to wash dishes and water a garden and give your animals something to drink. Don't get the RFID microchip because you want to do all this extracurricular stuff with the water that's not necessary. You know, people think, that this is going to be temporal, that life going to go back to normal. No, when the water go off, that's it. Ain't nothing going to ever be normal again. All right, so let's get back to this clip real quick as we finish up the lesson.
This is what happens when the water is turned off, and that's all they have to do for chaos to really ensue. And if it hits a big city, you can bet there's going to be a lot of chaos. Imagine these high-rise buildings with no water and the toilet's not flushing, and there's 10,000 people living in it, right? It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be stinky, and it could turn chaotic as well very quickly if it's not resolved, okay? And
that's going back to the scriptures, 2 Ezra 6:24. So again, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Yeah, when the water shut off, you gonna see people true selves. You know, people gonna be want to do one thing with the water while everybody else want to do something different with the water. So yeah, that's why friends gonna fight like enemies when the water is cut off. It's gonna be going down, amongst you and your household. But let's continue with this video real quick.
worried that if any kind of military conflict arises, even a proxy conflict with Taiwan between the US and China, then they're worried that China would activate If you only have a few.
Well, yeah, damn commercial. We're going to get back to it.
These back doors and shut off our communication systems and potentially our water systems. All right, that is what they're warning of. And it.
So what he's saying, they fear that once China decide they want to engage the U.S. in war, they're going to start attacking our critical infrastructure first.
They're warning that Iranian-backed groups and Iran itself have been affiliated and are targeting critical infrastructure. This actually happened a few months ago, where wastewater systems actually were taken offline in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio. It was nationwide. And they were saying it was due to Iranian-backed groups, right? The Iran Revolutionary Guard. That's what they were saying. We're taking our wastewater and water systems offline. So, and these countries do have advanced cyber capabilities. They have invested heavily in their cyber capabilities. So, this is a real threat. This is possible. And that's all they have to do is turn the water off, right?
So yeah, that's all they got to do is turn the water off. And then at that time, friends going to fight one against another like enemies. But go down to verse 25. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape. So who able is ever to endure these things mentioned? Not just in this lesson, but everything that the Lord warned us of. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. But it's all good. And why would we escape to see our salvation? Because the Lord is going to take care of us. The Lord said it's not life more than meat, and the body more than raiment. Ain't we more valuable in the eyes of the Lord than the sparrow and all these other animals? The Lord knows what we need. Isaiah 65:13. Therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So yeah, the Lord said we're going to drink. So we're going to have water that's necessary for our survival to hold us over until the time of our salvation. He didn't say we're going to have water to wash dishes. He didn't say we're going to have water to water a garden. He didn't say we're going to have water to flush a toilet. He said we're going to drink. Because that's the most important use of water is to drink. And the people going to find that out real quick. How much they take water for granted. They do everything with the water but drink it. You play in it, you waste it, you pour it out, you drinking all kind of coffee, milk, fake juice, Capri Sun, Sunny D. You do everything with the water but drink it. But when the water is turned off, then you're gonna want to drink it. But it's gonna be too late. So yeah. Again, the lesson was cyber attacks on U.S. water supply and survival tips. And again, this was a little contraption that was set up out there in Mexico. Just an idea for something that the hopeful elect can do to not be tied down to this system. Lord willing, it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.